I'm reading a book called The Way of Zen by Alan Watts, right, where he kind of translates like Taoist and Buddhist philosophy to Western audiences and stuff. The Taoists have this idea that there are two ways of looking at the world. There's the analytical, scientific, objective, like using language to try and define and categorize things to understand them. And then there's a more mystical kind of understanding. It's almost like an understanding of the world where you believe that you can't really understand certain things, and that just being able to name something and know its function and know how it's similar or different to other things doesn't mean that you really understand it. Like, we can talk about things like love, we can talk about things like happiness and sadness and anger and fear, and we know what the words are. We sort of know what they mean, like, because we've experienced them before, we think, but you don't know what you're actually talking about. We're just kind of decided to subliminally agree that we have the same definition of those things, but we may not, right? It all depends on what you've felt and experienced in the past. So it's very intangible. It's not clear and articulated. And I do 100% believe that world exists. So as much as people, maybe even myself, a part of my mind at the moment is skeptical, I also understand that there is a world beyond just language and definitions and scientific truth. And I think that may be the wavelength that animals live upon. Is that sort of similar to what you've been talking about?
Yeah, I agree absolutely with everything you just said, Joel. There's a book that just came to mind if you guys want to check it out. It's a really short, cheap book. It's called Kinship with All Life. Kinship with All Life by J. Allen Boone. And he has so many stories. Like, he's not an animal communicator professionally. He was just asked to dog sit this famous dog that was in movies and stuff. And this dog was so intelligent and was able to communicate with him in a way where he was like, what is going on? How is this dog reading my mind? Like, the author talks about how he would just think, like, he'd be in the living room, he would just think about, oh, like, what does Strongheart want to do today? And then Strongheart, the dog, would come running from the back room, grab his leash, and go stand by the door. And there's a ton other examples, even involving house flies. Like, we'll save that for another day. But, like, it's just wild what we don't know. Like, what I've learned over the years is I know nothing and anything is possible. And I wasn't always this animal communicator. I used to be a lawyer. You know, I had no idea that this world existed. It wasn't until I was 28 years old that I found out through a local massage therapist that she could talk to animals and that this was real. So like, I wasn't one of those kids that knew what my dog was saying or heard from the squirrels or knew when grandma was sick. Like, I played soccer, had hamsters, and, you know, did gymnastics. And when I found out that animal communication was possible, the first thing I did naturally was just go to Google and look up books. And I bought a bunch of different books from all these different authors. And all of these different authors at some point in their book said that every single person can learn to do this. And most of those authors hadn't learned until they were in their 40s or 50s. So I was like, all right, well, if all these different animal communicators from all over the world are saying that anyone can do it, like, I'm going to give it a shot. I hated being a lawyer. I was so miserable. I had a 2-hour commute one way. And I didn't go into it thinking it was going to be my full-time profession, because in my mind, that just sounded insane, right? How am I going to make a living talking to animals? Like, what? But it just evolved from there. And what you were just saying, Joel, about the book you're reading, like The Way of the Zen, there is so much more out there that we just aren't even aware of, because one, you know, societal conditioning, what's normal, what's accepted. In that Kinship with All Life book, one of the examples he brought up that I just remembered is that he talks about the Indians with the rattlesnakes, and so many the white people in the jungle were getting attacked by the rattlesnakes, and it was like white men, it was the example he was giving. But the Indians and the indigenous never had an issue with the rattlesnakes, because when the white people went in there, you know, it was they were putting off the energy of fear of, I'm going to kill you, like, you're going to kill me, I'm going to kill you first. And they were a threat. But the Indians and those that were indigenous there was this mutual understanding of, I respect you, you respect me, I'll stay away from you. And then there was no incidences. So it's like, there is so much behind the scenes that most of our world is completely oblivious to. And not that, you know, one way is better than the other or more right or wrong. It's just, we don't know what we don't know.